Welcome to a very special episode of I'm Not Comfortable With This. With me, Forrest.
And I'm Ben.
Today is our first episode after crossing 1,000 subscribers, and it kind of snuck up on us a little bit. But we've been talking for the past couple of weeks about
44 portions. This is written in a foreign tongue.
So, we've been talking for a couple of weeks about getting Ben to try some of my favorite childhood treats, things like head cheese and blood sausage. But
Nothing
I figured
good
that
has been imported from Australia.
I figured that it'd be fun this time. We'll get that next episode for Christmas, because this time he shouldn't have to suffer alone. So I went out and grabbed a jar of Vegemite.
You're eating the head cheese on Christmas too. You're just going to enjoy it.
Exactly. So like this time, today, we will both be enjoying some delicious Vegemite. This is imported from Australia.
Should get a bucket.
And it's some good stuff. I opened it up to sniff upon it. Oh, that's powerful.
Okay, well, you look okay. Let me see it.
Yeah, take a smell.
It's not that bad.
It's not bad. It's just powerful.
I'm pretty sure I know about how it's going to taste, and I'll be okay.
It'll taste a lot like beer.
I think I might have... I've had something like this before.
And Funkadelic. Have you ever had Marmite?
I don't know what I've been exposed to. I was also around old people at a young age. Don't let your young people around your old people.
So thanks so much for joining us for this very special episode. We begin the episode at this time stamp today now.
Fucking shoes off.
That's cool.
For the show.
I'm not taking my shoes off because the number of people who have written to me asking to see pictures of my feet is not zero. So like I can't.
I'm keeping them pretty well covered.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's why I always wear slips.
You don't want to see these puppies.
Got like these lady boots going on right now. They're awesome. But yeah, so Vegemite is
fuck you.
It's yeast extract. You said that you can't do fungus. Is that right?
No,
you
it's
can't do mold. So mold is fungus. Yeah.
Yeah, but like fungus is like, like if we're talking like mushrooms suck, but I can power through it. So, I couldn't power through like a big chunk of like mold.
Like blue cheese wouldn't do it for you?
I can kind of get through blue cheese, like the cheeses.
Yeah.
The like actual edible molds, but like if something has mold on it, just smelling it is enough for me to fucking like have
that's crazy.
A visceral reaction. My body does not like mold.
Yeast is a fungus. It's a mold.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
And that's like black mold, like mold you see in the corners right up next to some shit that's been there way too long in the open, like natural mold, like bad mold make you sick shit.
Right. Well, that's fine. We won't probably be eating anything like that. But yeast is really cool.
Fuck?
Yeast is awesome because it's a fungus and it's...
The show is Ben's not comfortable with this.
This is yeast extract. So like you can... yeast is what used to rise bread and whatnot. It's just a fungus that eats sugars and it craps out carbon dioxide. But with this, frequently. What you do is you get the yeast to just the right temperature to the point where it's not only metabolizing, but it's also actively breaking down. And so as its cell walls rupture, all of the good yeasty insides come out. So you're not just, eating these tiny yeast cells and not tasting any of the innards. It's actually all the flavors of the whole yeast being blossomed into this. And that started with Marmite, because, yeast is a great source of protein.
The nutrition information on this thing is fucking weird.
Yeah. And then Vegemite is basically Marmite with vegetable stalk extract added as well for extra nutrients and goodness. Marmite is, I think, English or British. So yeah, it's really fucking cool. And the original place that they got the extracted yeast was from breweries. It was a waste product after making beer. And so now they process it this
calories?
way. Yeah. A calorie is the exact amount of energy that it takes to raise 1 milliliter of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit or Celsius. I mean, yeah, 1 degree Celsius. So to raise the temperature of 1 milliliter of water 1 degree Celsius, that is a calorie. And so what we do to determine calories, we put things into a calorimeter where we literally just take the food and just fucking set it on fire and see how much energy comes off of it.
Okay, I know you want to talk about the science, and that's really fun, but, like, why do they put this on their toast?
It's a delicious breakfast spread if it's something that you grew up with. As for me, lingonberry jam is, actual food. But this is apparently hot stuff on the other half of the planet.
Why?
Beats the hell out of me, man. You want to try it?
It looks like it tastes kind of like shit.
It looks like it tastes like shit. It smells like it tastes like shit. I'm going to send this to my Australian friends. One of my advisors, the people on my...
Are there any rules to this?
Eat it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, like, I have my drink. If I can't handle it, I can...
And we got some paper towels around.
Bitch out. If I throw up, there's no puke bucket because Forrest did not give in to my demands.
I refuse to bring a puke bucket.
Now, I see the scoops that you've taken.
Yes, I
previously
fiddled with it a tiny bit.
I don't know if you guys can see that bullshit. He's fiddled with it a tiny bit. So I'm going to take what appears to be a reasonable scoop. I don't like the way it scoops.
It's thicker than you'd think it would be. I got curious before we recorded this.
There's that.
I'm gonna take a little bit as well. A little scoopy doopy.
And then for posterity.
How much did you do? Did you do more than me?
I did a good.
You did more than me. Oh, I'm gonna have to do more.
Don't be a fucking asshole.
Not looking forward to this. Genuinely.
It does smell kind of like a dark beer.
I fucking hate beer.
But it's also like, look what it's made out of.
It looks like a nightmare. It is tar. It is absolutely tar.
If you touch it, it sticks to you like immediately.
It's like fucking like venom. Like fucking symbiote.
So that sucks.
Up onto you.
All right.
Dink it and sink it like fucking Rhett and Link. The worst version of Rhett and Link.
No, fuck that. No.
You're gonna toast it with me?
No, we'll high five or something. Eat your bullshit. It could be worse.
Oh.
It could be way worse.
Oh, how are you? How are you dealing with this?
Fine. It does keep going, though.
It keeps going.
So...
It doesn't stop. Oh, my God.
Oh.
Oh, my phone's... I'm sorry.
It's like...
Oh, wow.
It's like you woke up the next day and you still taste like all the beer and throw up.
Yeah.
It also tastes like you fucking got a beef bouillon cube stuck. Bouillon? You know the fucking broth cubes?
Yeah.
If you lodged one of those in your throat. How long do I have to... Is that enough? Do I need to finish that?
You do whatever you want. I'm not eating the little scrippins on my thing. It's making me cry.
It's making you cry?
Wow!
I do feel like you're being a bit of a baby.
Oh, that's a powerful horror.
Yeah. Yeah. Take a drink.
Well, it's like I don't like beer and I don't like, these yeasty things. So this is especially gross for me.
I hate all of it. I think it's disgusting. I don't know why you would eat this.
I feel like that stained my insides. Ugh. Oh.
It kind of has a smoky richness, though.
It's got, so like...
There are hints of good flavor in
because of what it is. Like, so, mushrooms are real rich in the amino acid that produces the flavor of umami. And so it's very, very savory.
Umami. Yeah. That fry place opened up in the mall.
Hell yeah. So it's very, very savory. I feel like the mic is way too close to me. Oh, God. Well, that was a mistake, but a fun one. Oh.
So you people over there
watching this.
You know where you're at. So you take this in the morning.
One of my one of the people on my committee.
You put it on. Why? Why? You don't like sweet things for breakfast?
One of the people on my committee for fucking Masters is Australian.
Is this good for
you? I'm
you?
gonna ask her about this.
Is this good for you?
Mm-hmm. It's not bad for you.
Is that why they do it? Does it give you a good boost for the morning? Like, is it good energy? Is it better energy than sweets?
Maybe if you eat that in the morning, then like nothing else throughout the day can be that bad. You know? You just ate a fart on toast and now the rest of your day is fine. You know?
This sucked.
This is awful.
I'm sorry.
What an awful thing. I'm sorry if you had to watch it. If you're watching this and you're just like, oh, I'm just watching two grown men sit on a couch and hate their lives.
I'm fine with my life. I'm kind of pissed at Vegemite.
Oh.
It could have been worse.
That's rough, dude.
Probably need to eat the jar, and that'll throw you up. You'll throw up then.
It tasted like, what was shocking to me was like the punch of it. You know what I mean? Like you there was just this insanely thick gel. And just the more you got into it, the more it just absolutely slapped you in the back of the fucking head with how pungent. Oh, I still taste it. It's so strong. It's so strong.
What's really interesting is that where we scooped, it's kind of like oozing. As if we tore into some sort of flesh.
Got those ooze scoops?
Yeah.
You don't want the ooze scoops in whatever you're drinking or eating.
So honestly, I bet in there it gets way worse.
Like deeper down in there?
Yeah. I think you should take another.
You want to do another?
No. No, I still taste it, honestly.
It's still on my tongue. I'm sitting over here trying to be cool about it, but it won't go away. Amazing. Next. I'm not ending the episode, but next week.
You think head cheese will be worse than this?
No, head cheese is good.
Yeah.
That's the worst one. We're starting off with the worst one.
I don't believe you. Head cheese just that's made from yeast. Okay.
Head cheese is made from face.
Yeah, see the...
Do you like faces or yeast better?
There's a disconnect with what you're trying to say there.
I enjoy faces from time to time. Yeast doesn't fucking have a personality to it.
Are you saying you're going to eat the faces?
Oh, yes, that's what head cheese is. So, like, next week, we'll do head cheese then. Or blood and tongue. Whichever one I can get a hold of. Or the pork uteri. We were going to do the stir-fried uteri.
So you made me eat fucking Vegemite.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I didn't. Your hopes are dashed.
I loved it. I'm going to put Vegemite on my toast every morning now.
You can have that. You can fucking take that home with you. I paid too much money getting that here.
I'm not going to take that with me.
It was like $10.
I need somebody who likes Vegemite. Can you explain?
Yeah, if you enjoy Vegemite, leave in the comments below fucking why.
Did we do it wrong? Is it somehow like way better on toast?
Like the toast absorbs some of the hatred?
Or something else?
That's fucking rough, dude.
It might be.
Well, that was a great way to start the episode. It was also a great way to end my semester. As of 5 o'clock today, I submitted my final essay, and this semester is finally over for me.
So you celebrated with a scoop of Vegemite.
So I celebrated by doing something that was actually worse than the past 4 essays that I've had to fucking write.
Really? You think Vegemite's that bad?
I would rather have written more than do that again. That was rough, dude. Fucking, I
can't wait to see the other gross shit that you eat because this is not this. There's no way this is not even close to how bad.
Well, pork uterus is good, and head cheese is good, and blood and tongue is good. So I'm not worried about any of that. I'm gonna enjoy all of those things. You being disgusted is gonna be the highlight of those shows. But as we get along further on, like I said, I made a reference saying we should dink it and sink it like Rhett and Link, but that's 95% of their show now is them eating weird things.
I know, but so, like, you also pointed out that they don't seem happy. And while I wouldn't say I'm happy now,
they're in a rhythm with it.
I'm not that unhappy.
Right, we could continue on and do other things with this. We're more soft spoken. We're not as animated. You know what I mean? Or at least you're not. You're more chill about this whole thing. You're like, it sucked. and you usually carried on with your life.
Well, because it wasn't that bad. Vegemite sucks, and I don't think anybody should eat it. I also, like, that's just an exaggerated food opinion. Because really, like, you could, if somebody was like, all you have to eat to live is Vegemite, this one jar of Vegemite, and then you have to make it last, I'd be like, well, it'll be easier because it's Vegemite. But I can still eat it because it's Vegemite. It's not like I have to eat shit.
Right.
It's not shit. Like, that's what I'm expecting, is that at some point you're going to fucking hold a gun to my head.
And give you a turd sandwich.
And be like, you have to eat it.
You gotta get the views, man.
You have to do it for the views. And I'll be like, well, Forrest. And I'll be wearing, like, one of those really fluffy, like, king capes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Some shades and, like, have a stupid-looking dumbass crown on.
Because
and,
by that time, we'll be fucking, like...
I'll have a flip-out phone.
We'll be YouTube stars.
I'll be like, I guess I can do it, because I want to... You'll be like, you want to keep all your rings, right, Ben? And I'll be like, my rings. My jewelry.
Where's this going? How are you getting any of this?
It's stolen.
Oh.
It's all stolen.
Ugh. No, I think we could do more of these.
Vegemite's fine.
We got so what's the timeline then? Are we doing
a cracker?
A cracker? Not on me.
Put some Vegemite on a cracker. I feel like we fucked up. We're not trying Vegemite on things.
Do you want to continue eating that garbage? Because
No, I just think
I'll pause the video.
They're not gonna. They just watched us eat a little Vegemite. Are these people gonna be satisfied?
I see this. You at least got to see us make faces. But next week, for it'll be Christmas time, and we can for Krampus we'll enjoy a.
What if I love the fucking shit you make?
I hope you do.
What if I just love all of it?
I hope you do.
It just comes into a fucking gross mukbang where we just eat nasty
What I don't
shit.
know is, like, what's the plan here? Are we doing all of them? Are we doing one of them? Are we doing more? Tell us in the comments below.
What, for Christmas?
What you think is the best option. What you think is the best option. You tell me in the comments.
Well, we
below.
already got
Don't
it
tell
up.
me now. Tell me in the comments.
No, we already worked our way up to I said I would do pig uterus and head cheese.
So that's both of those together.
So you could add another thing, and that would be okay. But that's got to be the limit at least, because then we gotta have shit for the future if all we're gonna do is slowly become a show where we make Ben do things that he doesn't want to do.
We may have access to. So right now we disseminate the podcast out to Spotify and Breaker and all these things, and Pocket Cast and Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts,
Google
whatever else.
Fucker. And...
Yeah, and we have an option now where I can possibly disseminate video out further as well instead of just on YouTube. I haven't read. I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work and if we can get it out more. But like the biggest issue. Cool. The biggest thing that I'm concerned with is if you're currently listening to us on Spotify or whatever, like you're gonna want to go over to YouTube to check out these videos. I don't know how I can get videos to you other than YouTube at this moment. I'm trying.
Well, and that's what sucks about doing videos at all.
Is that you have to go to the video place to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's people like to listen.
A surprising amount of people are really excited about the video, though. There was like a bunch of people who were pointing out.
There's just more people who watch things than listen to things. But have you?
They want to see our faces and whatnot. But
you're
literally
cool.
just watching You're sitting on your couch watching us on our couch.
Which is bizarre.
It's bizarre when you think about it. You can't act like it isn't. It's very weird.
That's not even no judgment. It's just one of those fucking weird things that's happening.
It's no weirder than any other thing, but the fact that this is what's happening and this is what you're watching is you know what I mean?
Yeah, like we've just been fucking around. I mean, we do things. Like we don't just fuck around. That's not what our lives are. But we have been fucking around as friends for a long time.
A long time.
And it never needed to be.
Nobody ever needed to witness this.
You
don't deserve this, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So it sucks because I don't want to alienate the audio only listeners, and I always say that. But at the same time, you don't want to just listen to me eat gross shit.
That's somehow worse.
It's just like, what are you listening to? A podcast? And it's like they pull the earbud out and it's just two grown men just throwing up.
Great show. People love the show. Yeah, we'll figure it out. You let us know. We want your feedback. We want to know what you want to hear as far as like this whole thing's concerned.
Well, they're going to be divided about it.
They're always raging in the comments.
yeah. All four of you are going to be so divided. It's just that the audio people don't get to comment as much because they're like on Spotify.
And how do you? I don't even know if you can comment there.
No, you have to send us an email or something.
I have never checked it. The only way we know that you're talking to us is through YouTube comments. That's all we got because we're both incredibly inept, and so like we're trying so hard to be just adequate, and we're failing every week for your entertainment. Because you demanded it.
People love the show.
The podcast where you...
Okay. We got to figure this out. Maybe not. Maybe on the air, that we're going to create and upload later at a later time after it's edited and processed. So it's not like it's live. Mm-hmm. But regardless, maybe on the show isn't the best time to figure out
what we're going to do.
The show is.
You're right. When you're right, you're right. So, different, whatever. Will you do me a favor? I actually had one other thing.
Who are you asking this right now to?
You.
Okay.
Open up the topic list that we made. The Google Docs.
I don't like where this is going.
Scroll down to the bottom of that.
I don't like where this is Whoa. This isn't it. This is a list of story ideas for articles I was going to write.
Okay. You might want to pull one of those out.
That was 6 years ago. None of those will be
relevant at all.
What is an animal ambassador?
What?
It says 18 and 19. You really smell like dog buns?
Prank! You really smell. Classic.
Did you see that? Like, you see a prank video on YouTube, and now you think that's what we should do.
I just wanted to tell you that you really smell like dog buns. Yeah, no. So the whole thing was zoos, aquariums, and animal ambassadors. Somebody sent us a message a little while ago. Let me see if I can actually find the message itself.
Are you saying I smell like dog buns? Like, what does that mean?
You really smell like dog buns.
What does it mean, Forrest? Explain. Are you saying I smell bad on the podcast in front of our viewer?
People can smell you through the podcast like dog buns.
I shouldn't smell that bad. I took a shower and I didn't shit my pants today.
This person said they're an active listener and that they love the podcast and they want to know if we could do an episode discussing
Mr. Some Guy Persons.
So this person who is a zoo person wrote us a letter saying, "Hello, Forrest and Ben. I am a zoo person, and I want to know if you could do an episode where you discuss zoos and aquariums." And they talk about. I'm very much summarizing because she explains very thoroughly her points and her arguments, and I'm just trampling all over them.
In favor of zoos?
She works at Universal Orlando.
Like, I'm an inside man planning a zoospiracy. There will be a revolution amongst the animals.
She says she works at Universal Orlando, and she works with animals, doing like the animal ambassador thing, where you bring out an animal for people to see and potentially interact with and touch. I don't know if she explains that or not, but like. She says that because she's working for these things and she's taking care of these animals, she understands the extreme amount of care that goes into making sure these animals are happy and healthy, and then you bring them out around people.
Okay.
And I get that too. I did that for a living at one point.
Okay.
I took care of animals and I showed those animals to people.
You did that. Yeah, that's true.
And
Forrest was very nice to the animals.
The problem is
he's a good animal
that there are actual studies showing that is, at the end of the day, always detrimental. Like there's just no good way to do that. I'm looking at the time stamp here.
Yeah, fine. What, keeping an animal in captivity?
No, using them. I'm gonna go ahead and flip flop. Yeah, see, it just.
I know you're doing a great job. I just don't want to derail the conversation. So I'm keeping us. I'm keeping us engaged, Forrest. People love the show, Forrest. They love the way I do a podcast.
The camera's all fucking weird now. Why is it?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
What's happening? What is this?
I don't know. I was trying to yell to keep the show going.
We were just getting into the goodness. What? What now?
Time for the silence. This is the silence.
This can't be how we continue on with the podcast. This is the worst episode we've ever done.
This is the fashion. This is the fashion with which we choose to disappoint our audio-only listeners.
Oh, I figured out what was wrong.
What?
I'm not going to tell you because it's embarrassing.
You're going to tell me after the show?
I can tell you. I was holding the camera to push the button. I was covering the infrared sensor on the eyepiece. So, in all reality, I actually did turn the camera on and off like 15 times.
Well, I want you to leave that in when you edit it. I want you to leave the clips where you were a dumbass in the fucking video. And I want you to apologize to the people, quite frankly. Now,
I am sorry.
Ultimately, being an animal ambassador is
ultimately,
yes, it is ultimately detrimental.
Any kind of consistent handling, especially bringing them out around the public, is bad because
for who?
It's arguably bad for the animals, but sometimes it's not. I can personally say that like there's a lot of times these animals are very friendly, very familiar with being handled, as long as they're not constantly being stressed out all the time.
Like I understand it's not their natural environment.
Right,
so
right.
I get that that's like not cool.
The major problem is with it, is that the having people interact directly with the animals perpetuates this idea that they're all pets and that they're just sweet, cuddly creatures and that nature is just a place for humans to go play in a theme park. And that kind of perpetuates the problems of like the exotic pet industry, which is objectively horrible. So like animal ambassadors, that can be a good thing. Oftentimes those are rescue animals. They're rehabilitated animals. They can't go back in the wild. They're very used to being loved on. Like this person said, and like I can attest to as well, there's there's oftentimes a tremendous amount of love and care and actual expert husbandry that goes into taking care of these animals. Yeah, they are living really good.
Because we regulated it.
But the problem is that a lot of times other places don't take good care of them and are just using them as a roadside attraction. And no matter what, the public experiencing this is getting this twisted image of what animals are and what they're for and seeing them as toys. And that ends up fueling like pet industries and whatnot. So like that was something that somebody reached out to us talking about. And that's actually a very thoughtful topic. That's something that like really does. And I don't think it could take up a whole episode, but since we just spent the first fucking 20 minutes eating Vegemite and trying to figure out what the fuck the show that we do for a living is.
Because this topic is fucking confusing as shit. Because like zoos are cool, aquariums are cool, like seeing the fishes and stuff, and like it's really fun,
right?
And it's cool to see all that shit. But then also there's that other side where it's like, is it like okay?
Yeah. Because like
fucked up, does it cause like big problems?
Yeah.
Does it? I like obviously like the money, like zoos do a lot. Like any good zoo does a lot to like help animals in other places. But the problem with that is like, yeah, they're doing that, and yes, sure. So the money that they get from the tiger exhibit goes back to help tigers that live in the wild, right? Like let's just simplify the equation. Right. Let's say that's how it works. But where does the zoo get the tigers?
Right.
So like
well, and there's the thing is that like a lot of times, like here for example at the Tulsa Zoo, I got a chance to talk to some of their biologists there, and they keep super duper detailed records of like
scientists.
Yeah, they keep a detailed record of the genetics of every animal. So like let's say you have like the penguins, right? Yeah. They have a detailed record of the genetics of these penguins as well as like all the other like major zoos in the country have genetic records of their penguins, and so they collaborate with all these other. I don't know why I say collaborate so weird. They
collaborate.
I think I was trying to say corroborate and just switch it the last second.
Way worse.
They collaborate with all the other zoos in the country, and they're like, "Hey, our male penguin and your female penguin have really compatible genetics. They would make super healthy offspring. We're gonna ship you this male. Go ahead and breed them, and then we'll have this really super healthy penguin egg that we can then ship off to the next zoo."
Are you saying penguin eugenics?
It's fucking penguin eugenics going on. And that way, they're not just breeding them for profit, they're also not just like having them interbred in captivity all the time so that their metagenome decays. They're actually having the best shot at having a healthy wild experience.
Hold up.
While also making sure that all the zoos are stocked on penguins.
Total derail.
Yeah.
Back up.
Yeah.
The word metagenome sounds super important.
Yeah, so
also like you could get a lot of topics out of that.
So you have your genome. It's the total amount of all the DNA in your body. It's the total like information stored within the DNA in your body. Not all the DNA in your body altogether, but just like the total readout of your DNA.
What it actually mean.
When you have a population of one type of organism, like all the penguins, the metagenome is all of their genomes together, like the net total sum.
So you got the outliers and then what most are.
But, well, yeah, it's like everything.
It's one thing
overlapping everything. It's all the genes of this population. So when you have, like, for example, genetic drift going on, this one has these kind of genes and this one has these kind of genes, and as they continue to breed and spread those genes around, the metagenome kind of fluctuates a little bit. And so the metagenome is just the total genes of a population. And so that's what I'm saying. Like when they make sure
that to be big, right?
Well, it's going to be as big as the population, but like you want it to be diverse.
Is small, like would that cause problems?
Yeah, if your metagenome is not very diverse, you're going to have a problem with really inbreeding. But like lack of genetic diversity opens you up to disease. Disease can destroy the population immediately because they don't have the diversity of like these guys survive the disease and these guys don't. It's just everybody gets fucked or not. Yeah. Also, you have more, especially like sex linked characteristics, sex linked disorders, things that attach to your allosomes, which are your XX and XYs, or in birds Z and W or whatever. But anyway, your sex chromosomes have specific disorders that attach to them, and those flourish when a limited metagenome because you have less opportunity to share heterozygous.
That's insane.
You know what I mean?
All right.
And especially that's bad for, like in primates, that's especially bad for males because...
Have a Vegemite.
I don't want it.
Okay.
Males are more prone to and more damaged by sex-linked disorders in primates because, if you have a disorder that's attached to the X chromosome, we only have one of those.
Yeah.
So you have a disorder, or you have something like dark hair, for example.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, dark hair.
You have the dominant and the recessive allele, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you have the two chromosomes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you have the two chromosomes. You can either have them both dominant or one dominant. You're going to express that. Well, with a female with XX chromosomes, if she has one of these sex-linked traits on one chromosome, she's a carrier. She won't express it. It's fine. It's recessive. It's not going to hurt her.
Yeah.
But on a male, if you have it on there, you only have the one X chromosome to deal with. And so even though it's a recessive trait, you're always going to express it. So females have to be homozygous. They have to have two recessive traits. It's a lot harder for them to express these disorders. For men, if you have it, you have it. And then if you have a daughter, she's going to at least be a carrier. You're going to pass it on. And that can be a problem as well. Because that's where how could you possibly...
bitch.
Yeah. And all this is also incredibly reductive, and it's teaching at the, high school level of talking about chromosomes.
Fair enough.
But, there's a lot of wiggle room in there.
So anyway,
I could go on for an hour about how everything I just said is not accurate.
Back to the penguins.
So, zoos and aquariums are breeding these animals in captivity to keep them at captivity to teach the public about them. Yes, but also these are still living creatures. And so there's a valid argument to be made that this whole thing is fucking shitty anyway, no matter what. And that is compounded when you have things like animal ambassadors, where you're intentionally bringing this animal out to interact with the public, which is stressing the animal out. Not necessarily in a bad way. It's just that is pressure put on the animal. That's new interactions. And there's a fucking spectrum there. From, an animal that is brought out once every day or two, does a little show, just being talked about, gets fed on stage, and then goes away, versus an animal in a touch tank that's being petted and picked up all day long. That's why they stopped doing, it's hard to find those hermit crab enclosures anymore. Yeah. Because kids pick them up and drop them all the time, stresses the hermit crabs out, they start fucking dropping, their legs fall off because they're stressed out, and then they die weirdly. That shit happens with animals in touch tanks all the time. So if they can't go a day without being stressed the fuck out, they're going to have health problems. So anyway, that's the whole...
Oh, gee.
Yeah, right?
What a fucking concept.
Yeah. So that's the whole...
Stress causing health problems.
Look at the time over there. I put the timer behind the camera this time, so it looks like I'm just staring over here. But that's the whole, the long and short of it, is that... That's the argument from one side. And the argument from the other side is that in all of these cases, not counting shitty roadside zoos and money grabbing schemes.
Yeah.
These are ways to
money chasms.
I was money grabbing schemes, but money gasms is funnier. Not counting these people that actually exploit animals for money, you have an excellent opportunity to teach, number one, and to establish a real connection where people get inspired and want to take care of animals. I can tell you, at the sanctuary that I worked at, we brought out animals all the time for people to touch and play with. We took really good care of the animals as best we could. Could have done better. If we'd had more funding, we would have. But people donated the most, and we were able to go out and buy supplies and shit when we brought an animal out for them to touch. And they felt a connection with that animal, and then they'd put $20 in the donation box because they want to save this one particular animal. Yeah. And so if they see it in a cage, doesn't matter how nice the cage is, they're like, cool, that's that thing. And then they walk away. But if I can bring it out of the cage, then they're like, oh, fuck, I want to build this thing a better enclosure. I want to make sure they have plenty of food. I want to make sure they have the nicest habitat. I want to make sure that all these things, because they now love this animal. And so there's a good argument to be made in both directions, so long as the person curating this exhibit is actually honest. It's one of those shitty
situations where both parties are trying to do the right thing.
Yeah. It's hard, and that's
they're both wrong.
The damned misery of it.
The only way to fix everything is to undo all of it.
Undo all of it. Just stop. Honestly, well, and that's the thing, is that the biggest problem with this is that I worked at it was an exotic sanctuary, and we got all of the animals because some fucking dickhead bought one online
and couldn't do it.
And that's because we primarily had reptiles, and so we had fucking boa constrictor, we had a fucking green anaconda that was fucking 12 feet long because some dickhead bought it. You can buy them for $500
and then never take care of it,
and then it gets fucking big and eats your cat. Yeah, exactly. As you buy them and they're a foot long and they're as wide as your finger.
Why is it still so easy for people to get reptiles like this? Because there are people out there that have snakes and shit, and they take fine care of them.
Yeah, there are hobbyists and enthusiasts that do an amazing job.
Yeah, but then there's also if I just fucking up and wanted to, I could go get.
You could absolutely go get a fucking green anaconda today. Yeah.
I don't need that shit. First of all,
Secondly,
it's why is it so easy when for years I've been hearing these stories of people who buy a small reptile and then it gets this fucking big.
Well,
and and that's as a small one.
Right.
It gets so big it eats your cat.
Yeah.
And then and then it's how are we letting people do this?
Well, and that's the thing, is that one of the last years I was there, I think it was the last year I was there, I think, this fucking guy brought us in this fucking Burmese python. Thing is absolutely massive. It was probably about almost 10 feet long. and it's really cage aggressive and really fucking mean, and I immediately understand why, because he brings it in this fucking shitty, ratty tank that's like for a fucking bearded dragon or something. Like a small, this thing is crammed in this tank with hamster bedding on the bottom. It's dry as a bone in there. The thing's got stuck shed all over its body. And he's like, oh, I'll show you how nice it is. Reaches in there, grabs it by the back of the fucking neck like he's fucking Crocodile Dundee, whips it out of there, and then loses his grip, drops it on the ground, and picks it. It's like, oh, look, she's so cool. And I'm like, dude, just fucking, just leave.
Just stop.
And he's like, yeah, I just can't take care of it anymore. I'm like, you haven't been taking care of it like so far. What are you talking about? And this thing was super mean and cage aggressive because of that. And after a week and a half of me working with it, it was fucking not like you could pick it up. It was a puppy dog. It was nice as shit because it just took a week or so of showing it, hey, I'm not going to be a fucking asshole to you. They're smart, you know? And, like, we immediately got it checked out. We got it some vitamins because it was fucking, oh, man, it was not eating right. We got it, all the shed cleaned off of it. Got it on actual nice, like, some cypress mulch and peat moss, so it had some humidity in there. And just sprayed it down, and it was just loving its life. And it was an asshole every time we took it out of the cage until, like, the 50th time when it was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to slither around on this fucking tall, skinny man, and then I'm going to go in here and probably get a rad. And, like, It just, you know, it's not fucking hard to, like, but that's the problem, is that you could make the same argument for pit bulls or something. You know, you buy these animals and they're dangerous unless you know how to take care of them. And the big difference is that reptiles are so different than what a lot of people are used to all the time. They buy a fucking big ass snake thinking it's a cat. They buy a Eurymastix lizard thinking they can just keep it like a little bearded dragon when they need extreme heat.
Yeah.
A Eurymastix, it needs to have a basking spot that's over 100 degrees.
Oh shit.
And like you buy this thing and you're like, oh yeah, I'll just keep it, you know, I'll put a little lamp on there. It's gonna die, or it's gonna have a really shit metabolism and get really sick because it can't get hot. And you're like, no, you need to put this thing in a fucking spot that's like 110 degrees. You're like, oh, I don't want to hurt it. That's what it evolved in the goddamn desert. It needs that.
It actually likes to be that hot.
It likes to be cooked a little bit. You need to do what it wants. And people don't get that because they're used to taking care of a fucking hamster. You know what I mean?
Which is like essentially like almost the same as a person. It's still like the same type of animal as you. Like the thing with like small rodents is you still have to take certain care of them as well though. They need like, you can't let them get too cold and shit because they can't get as warm. They can't stay as warm as you. If it is cold, you have to keep like another one is birds.
Yes, birds are so fucking complicated.
So growing up, I had a few parakeets and they were fine. But that's because my mom got the book and read how to take care of them, and we took care of them the way you're supposed to take care of them.
Yeah.
So, like, we did everything the way you were supposed to, and they lived as long as they were going to live.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of them might have gotten out somehow during a move, which is scary and bad, and I'm sure that didn't turn out well. Right. But the wings weren't clipped, so whatever.
What was going to happen, yeah.
But, like, it was one of those things that just fucking happened. But, like, other than that...
Even if they were, parakeets are fucking... Like
I know.
They'll go.
But they're also like they're incredibly like fun.
Yeah.
To like if you have them, you take care of them, and you talk to them, and you get them out every day, and you fucking love on them every day. They're really fun to have around.
Yeah, they're awesome little dudes.
But if you can't do that, if you can't do that and keep their cage clean, and like give them food, and make sure they have a rock they need, they're fucking to sharpen their bullshit on all that shit they need.
Otherwise, you
have to keep their water clean. Like there's so much extra shit. Like, it's like fish.
Yeah.
People get fish. Fish, I kind of feel bad for because fish, I think, have it worse than anybody.
Seriously, because people don't get it. They're like, oh, they're in water. I'm like, how many nitrates are in that water? What's a nitrate? Yeah, see? Like, that's...
Yeah, like, I don't know about fish, but I know you gotta have the shit right. I know if the shit's not right, the fish die.
It's the same way as you, like, hey, what's the air like in this room? What?
People don't think about air quality as much as they should.
There's air. Well, and that's especially with birds, because like fucking birds have effectively 2 sets of lungs.
Yeah, temperature and air are extremely important
for birds. Oh yeah, birds have effectively 2 sets of lungs. If you have a really dusty environment, it will clog up their fucking double lungs in a way that would never affect a mammal, and they're gonna die in a really horrible way. And you just like fucking, if you had known their physiology, you would have known how to take care of them better. Like, don't leave the oven on. I have a parrot. Why are those correlated? Well, you gotta think about it. So, I don't know, man. Like, that's the big problem. And not only is it the problem of people buying these animals thinking they're cute and then they kill them, how they're harvested. Like, fucking ball pythons.
Yeah.
They come from North Africa, and people still go out today, even though they're one of the most common fucking exotic pets in the world. People still go out today to fucking north and just round them up and just gather them up out of the fucking, they're all over the fucking savannah out there, just scoop, and just scoop them up and bring them here because they're trying to find new genes, because we breed them like crazy to develop new like patterns and colors and styles that then go for thousands of dollars. And we breed them just for these patterns, and we cause horrible degenerative neurological and all sorts of other disorders by breeding the fuck out of them, interbreeding them, and like
what the fuck?
Yeah, like a spider. It's called the spider mutation. It's they look they're brown with a white belly, and they have like these cool like spider webby black patterns on them, and all of them are fucking dumb. Like they all just like stare off into space and just gape their mouth open like that, and they're stupid ass snakes. Jesus. And they have really bad neurological problems, and they die from like just they get like stargazing where their fucking brain starts shutting down. But they look pretty, and so people breed them and buy them.
You say that the brain is like so dumb that it's literally like I gotta just check out. I gotta sign off. I'm not in a body or something's not right here. Time to just quit.
You can literally look up spider ball python wobble. They are born with a central nervous system disorder that causes their head to tremble. It is known in the reptile keeping world as the spider wobble, because we bred them so much just to look this way that it also fucked their brains, and they just can't hold their fucking head still, and they usually die from neurological disorders.
Why is that allowed at all?
The exact same reason that fucking pugs are allowed to exist, dude. Pugs shouldn't exist. Have you ever seen the skull of a pug?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're fucked up, and they can't breathe, and they sit there and wheeze and choke and cough. And everyone's like, oh, it's so cute, it's making noise. It literally, you deformed its skull to the point where it can't get a fucking breath in, and they die. There are pugs that fucking like pass out because they can't get a breath right. And they fucking die and live horrible lives. But oh, it's so cute with their smushed little faces. You took advantage of this thing's evolution. You fucking fucked with its genetics to make it look a way you think is funny, and it lives a horrible
That's
fucked
like
up
most
life.
Dogs, though.
A lot of dog species.
So I don't know what you do about that, because you can't just get rid of like fucking like you'd have to get rid of like 80% of the dogs.
We need to get rid of like 80% of the dogs.
People aren't going to go for that.
I'm just saying, like that's the problem. It's the same thing with pythons.
If anything, we're going to start breeding people to get shit we like more.
Right?
No, that's like
we talked about the eugenics with the penguins. Fucking gonna be the same. It's the same thing with the ball pythons and the dogs. It's about to be the same thing with fucking people if we don't get our shit right with this. It's gross, is what I'm saying.
We're gonna do it with people.
It's fucking.
There's gonna
gross.
be like, these people are bred for certain things.
Right.
Anyway,
it's fucking.
The only thing that will stop eugenics is actually, unfortunately, the singularity.
Well, the problem with eugenics is that it doesn't. Stop. Like we talked about with the pythons and whatnot, you breed for one.
The problem with eugenics should just be like
you breed for one trait that you really like, and you don't realize all the other traits that you're bringing out.
Yeah.
So eugenics is pushed by people who don't understand how evolution actually works, and they think, oh, I can just make people stronger. And it's like you're also going to make all these other bad things that you can't fucking account for or control happen, and they don't get that. So like, it's a problem. The point is that eugenics is a problem. You heard it here first, folks. The point is the exotic pet industry is a fucking nightmare. People still go out and harvest. Parrots is another one. People go out and harvest parrots in the wild. They raid nests. They destroy whole fucking ecosystems to just harvest parrots to sell.
I watched a long ass documentary in 2011 about that. It was really sad.
They breed these things into monstrosities just to make money. We have shitty ass roadside zoos and attractions that are just trying to make money, and they don't care if animals die, and they buy expensive animals to bring in expensive customers, and they do petting parties and things like that where they are actually exploiting these animals. And on the flip side of that is you have zoos and aquariums and animal ambassadors that are actually trying to educate people and make things better, that unfortunately get lumped in because there's so much shit in this whole thing. And you can't fucking jump into a pig pen without getting your boots dirty a little bit.
That's the thing, is what do you even do about this issue? Because the only, there's not a solution.
There's not, except for shutting down any kind of animal interaction. All zoos, all aquariums, all of that, totally outlawed. You cannot keep animals anymore.
Yeah, but then it's almost like that makes it even crazier for some sort of rich piece of shit to get a fucking genetically fucked off tiger.
Right, but it actually does hurt conservation efforts as well, because that's the whole thing. And then when you're talking about environmental problems, the term keystone species, the one species that holds the whole ecosystem together.
Yeah.
There's also a term flagship species, which is where you have the one, or banner species also, but it doesn't matter. The point is that this is the one super cute cuddly thing that everybody loves, and when you get to see one, it makes your heart explode and you donate, like pandas, giant pandas. That's the reason why, the World Wildlife Foundation, everybody uses a fucking panda as a thing, because pandas are these big cute cuddly bears, just want to eat bamboo all day. They're so sweet. Throw money at the pandas, save the fucking pandas, and you can use that money to then rebuild coral reefs, to plant trees, to help rainforests, to purify water, to clean up pollution. And everyone's like, pandas, save the pandas, save the pandas. And you're saving the whole fucking world. And so, that's the thing where you see this, unfortunately, it's a double-edged sword, where you can really do a lot of help. And we need sanctuaries to take care of these animals because idiots fucking buy them. And we need places for them to go. And we need people to raise awareness. And we need people to talk about them. But doing that also gives other idiots license to continue buying these fucking things and taking care of them.
It's kind of like how certain services you can provide for drug addicts and shit.
Yeah.
You can make it so that they live long enough to hopefully get help.
Yeah.
Right?
But you can't
That's
force them to get help.
That's kind of the thing. Is that it's well, they need to get help, and it's yeah, but they're choosing not to get help right now, and it's okay, so fuck them, and it's no. Try to keep them alive long enough until they understand that they need to get help so that they make the decision to get help. And it's this thing that's not really doing anything yet, but maybe will keep some people alive later.
Right.
And that's what conservation is for animals.
It's a beautiful metaphor.
It's sad. I would eat the whole jar of Vegemite if I could save an animal. Don't. I just see Forrest next episode with the camera, and he's just got animals, and he's these animals will die if you don't eat the
a knife and a kangaroo. Eat it. I'll let him go.
I'd like to see you wrestle a kangaroo.
I actually have.
Not one of the ones that was big enough to kick your ass, because you're still here doing a podcast with me.
No,
I've seen what they can do to a man.
The biggest kangaroos I've ever fucked with were a little more than half my height. And the shit about kangaroos...
fucked with, because if you're hanging out with a kangaroo, you're going to be fucking with them.
Kangaroos always want to fucking bite the webbing between your fingers. Every single kangaroo I've ever met does it, and I don't know why.
They know that's where you're a bitch. No, for real. Kangaroos are it's the only thing they know how to do is fight. And for some reason, they know how to fight people.
Yeah.
They know how to fight on that fucking... there's some sort of weird fucking marsupial that, figured out pugilism. And that's, the only thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. They awesome. Literally fight.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Compared to, a gorilla or a chimpanzee, like they could fight you, but they're not gonna fight you like a man, right? Like how you stereotypical like man, like fisticuffs. A fucking kangaroo will actually punch you in the face. Like they will punch you in the. It's an animal doing that.
I'm loving how much this blows your mind.
It makes me mad because for my whole life I was like, yeah, like, I mean, you know, like the way a person fights is completely different from the way an animal fights. And then I saw like a kangaroo punch somebody. And I was like, that is a punch. That is a human punch, which means if they could just get smart enough to do other stuff, they could do other stuff.
Yeah.
That's what's scary about chimps with spears.
Yeah.
It's like, shit.
Have you seen them hunting bush babies?
Yeah.
Yeah. They fashion like, a fucking spear and they go into a fucking hole. Oh, it's terrifying, dude. They're so smart. They're so smart. To hunt other primates, no less.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody who would do that.
So to answer this incredibly thoughtful question that somebody sent us, fuck, bro.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is probably cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it's like helping, but I don't think you made the system. So you're just kind of participating in it.
Yeah, well, that's the shit of it, is that like you're only allowed to do as much good as your superiors will allow you to do. And like that was, you know, that was always an issue with is it fucking up again?
No, it's about to though. What does that mean?
You know what? The video's ending and we're also at like an hour, so we should end it here anyway.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, that is a really good question, and I hope we can get more questions.
Like
that.
Send us
that we won't answer.
Send us comments and tell us. We needed to figure out whether we're eating all of the gross things next week.
To be fair, I do want to say before we close it out, I do want to say I think ultimately I think conservation efforts in zoos and aquariums probably do a little bit more good than like bad.
Yeah, I agree.
They do more good than worse.
They do more. Yeah.
Fuck was I about to say?
I do think they do more good than they do harm, and I think that especially at like, you know, actual like AZA accredited zoos.
It's like not to diminish the harm though.
Right. There's always an animal is supposed to be in its habitat. Anything that isn't that is somewhat of a problem. But at the end of the day, it's still better than, you know, just nothing. And it's better than just letting shit rot and then just trying to talk about it. It's still an improvement. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just like syringe receptacles.
Just like syringe receptacles. Yeah.
Yep. It's a circle of life.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, we're gonna end it there. Next week is Krampus, and we will be doing more gross foods of some kind. Let us know what you think about that, and we will from there try to figure out other milestones where we can actually torture Ben effectively and not just have me also suffering, because that was no fun. Nobody wanted to see that. It's really just torturing Ben that we're here for.
I can't wait. I'm going to come up with stuff for you to eat that you don't want to eat.
Have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate being here. Thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube's.
We appreciate it greatly.
Have an awesome rest of your day and rest of your week and rest of your life. We'll talk to you later. Bye!